Hey guys, long time no see. We haven't been on Instagram. We haven't done anything in a while. I hope you guys are doing well. We miss you. Graham and I miss you. But we're going to start something a little bit new on our Friday mornings. This week, I'm going to share with you a devotional, and we're going to keep that up for a couple of weeks. In the past, we've had some fun videos, but my hope is that we'll take a little moment and that we'll pull up some scripture and we'll start looking at what God has for us through the Bible. And so buckle up. I'm excited about doing this. I miss you guys. I don't know when we'll be back together, but this is our chance to get together for a second. So tonight we're going to talk about icebergs. We talked about icebergs on our last meeting together back in December, I believe we met. And so I want to continue the talk about icebergs. Last time we talked about David, who eventually will be the king of the Israelites. But remember, David killed Goliath, and that's what we talked about. But we also talked about icebergs and how you only see 10% of an iceberg. 90% of the iceberg is underwater, and we don't even know really what's going on. And that's the case with us, is that we are only probably showing people 10% of who we are. We're showing them how our hair looks, what kind of clothes we wear, what we like to do. But there's so much more to us than just that. There's 90% more of us. And what I want us to look at and think about is how are we engaging and touching that? How are we working with our spiritual side, with the inside, with our heart? And so also last time we talked about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is absolutely the greatest of all time. It is not LeBron James, it's Michael Jordan. I want that to be known right now. But he became the best by practice, by working hard at it. He didn't get awesome and do really good things and then practice. He had to practice to get there. The same thing with David. He was anointed king 15 or 16 years before he became the king. And so with that in mind, there's a famous author. His name is Malcolm Gladwell. And he wrote a book called Outliers. Basically what he did is he took a bunch of famous people and figured out how they became famous. And one of the key thoughts or the key themes in their lives is that they spent probably about 10,000 hours working towards whatever their goal was. So for Michael Jordan, he probably had to play 10,000 hours worth of basketball to become an expert, to become great at it. That is 416 days of someone's life to become an expert. That's wild to me. So it shows me that it takes so long for us to become an expert at anything. But practice does make perfect. Practice is something that we would be striving for. But how are we practicing in our spiritual life? What are we doing to become a stronger believer? And so we're going to touch on that here in a little bit. And so I do want to look at David's life for just a second. We're going to look at 1 Samuel chapter 18, verses 6 through 9. And I want to share this quick story with you. When the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistines, the woman came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul with singing and dancing, with joyful songs and with timbrels and lyres. I'm guessing that's some kind of musical instruments. As they danced, they sang, Saul has slain his thousands and David his 10,000s. Saul was very angry. This refrain displeased him greatly. They had credited David with tens of thousands, he thought, but me with only thousands. What more can he get but the kingdom? And from that time on, Saul kept a close eye on David. And so we quickly see Saul's heart. Saul is the king. He was the first king of the Israelites. He was a good king. But Saul had a lot of issues in the way that he was king. And we're seeing here that he struggled with pride and humility. He hated the fact that David was being looked at as a better warrior than him. And he knew that David would be king one day. And this was hard for Saul. He struggled with that. Someone once told me that holding on to bitterness against another is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Because you're the one drinking the poison, and all that is going to do is tear you apart. It is going to taint everything that you're trying to do, everything that you're trying to accomplish, because you're worried about other people. And that's something that we saw with Saul. In the New Testament, in Matthew chapter 23, verse 25, Jesus says, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you clean the outside of the cup and plate, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence." Oftentimes we don't focus what's on the inside, what's going on with our heart. And that's the same thing I think that's happening with Saul, is he's not taking an opportunity to check his heart, to check what's going on, because he is king. For example, your parents give you a task of doing the dishes, and you have to go, and you're like, all right, I got you. I'm going to put them all in the dishwasher. I'm not going to wash them. You don't scrape the food out on the inside. You just put them in the dishwasher. You come back a couple hours later and unload it. And when you're looking at the cups and the bowls and the plates, there's dirt still on the inside, still some food. But you're like, but the outside is fine. So you take those dishes and you put them back into the cupboards or cabinets. What do you call them, TJ? Cabinets. You put your dishes back in the cabinets, and you walk away. To me, that's disgusting. Like, the next person that comes and grabs that glass or that cup and they look at it and there's dirt on the inside, but it looks good on the outside. Like, Saul was still the king, but on the inside he was becoming rotten. He was becoming prideful, and he wasn't living out God's plan. And the next chapters in the book of Solomon, not Solomon, whoa. And then in the next chapters of Samuel, you're going to see Saul's decline because he's not worried about his heart. And so one of my challenges for you guys this week is that you guys would start focusing on what's going on the inside of you. We probably have a couple more weeks of quarantine. We probably have a couple more months of not getting back to normal. So take this time and to reflect on what's going on in your heart and going on the inside. Spend some time reflecting and praying. Also, I want to challenge you guys to reach out to your small group leaders. Talk to them. Tell them what's going on in your life. I know right now isn't the easiest time in the world. Maybe you're bored. Maybe you miss your friends. Maybe you're sick of your family. All of these things are okay. But what I want you to do is to look at what's going on in your life. I can't wait to see you guys again. I can't wait for you guys to be up here at the church. But for right now, we have a couple of offerings for you guys. This Sunday night from 6 to 7, we're going to be doing a Zoom check-in. Come hang out with Graham and I and some of the small group leaders. We're going to be hanging out there. I'll probably give away prizes. We'll probably play a couple games and have some discussion questions. So jump on Zoom. You can find our link on our Instagram page or on huntsvillefirst.org. Thanks for tuning in. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks, guys.